energy, meditating, chakras. A lot of people are getting into New Age spirituality, which some people call it a cover-up for the occult and Satanism, even claim that it is the one world religion that will come with the New World Order. Is New Age spirituality satanic, or is it just misunderstood? Today, on Mysteries of the Universe, we will be taking a deeper look into the new spiritual movement to discover its true origins, purpose, and hidden meanings. My name is Devin Worlds, and this is the New Age. What if you could travel the universe, visit other worlds, become friends with the alien being, and even speak to a higher version of yourself that can help you answer some of life's most puzzling questions? Would you? What if I told you this was all possible just by meditating? Would you believe me? Most prominent figures in the New Age movement suggest that this is definitely possible.
Galaxies that exist, that it is phenomenal, it's unbelievable. And the greatest mystery is not on the atomic level, which is also unbelievable. The world that is there, the atomic and subatomic level, that scientists explore, which we only understand a tiny fragment of, just as we only understand the tiniest of fragments of what is out there. So you have the two realms, the two mysteries, the outer space and then the macrocosm, and you have the microcosm. And people write books, great scientists write books about the mysteries of the universe. And the amazing thing is, many of these books, very good books, fail to mention one word. They explore the mysteries of the universe, but there's one word. You can have a whole book on the mysteries of the universe, either the macrocosm or the microcosm or the two together. The one word that's not mentioned is consciousness, which is the most fundamental mystery, the fact that the universe is conscious. That is the most amazing miracle. How do I know that the universe is conscious? Well, I am conscious. You are conscious. The universe is conscious in us. The universe is experiencing itself for a brief moment as a human being. It's also experiencing itself for brief moments as a plant or an animal. And that's an amazing thing. Now, scientists are probably never going to figure out what consciousness is. If it's even possible to figure out what consciousness is, because science is concerned with looking out there. You can either look out into outer space or you look into the innermost of matter. But what scientists don't look at is their own consciousness, which is the universe looking at itself.
So what is New Age spirituality? New Age is a term applied to a range of spiritual or religious beliefs and practices that developed in Western nations during the 1970s. Precise scholarly definitions of the New Age differ in their emphasis. Although ethnically often considered to be religious, those involved in it typically prefer the designation of spiritual and rarely use the term New Age themselves. Many scholars of the subject refer to it as the New Age movement, although others contest this term and suggest that it is better seen as a zeitgeist. As a form of Western esotericism, the New Age drew heavily upon a number of older esoteric traditions, in particular those that emerged from the occultist current that developed in the 18th century.
It's very difficult to explain because, as you know, it brings in Eastern religions, Western religions, metaphysics. So it's very eclectic. It's basically a mishmash of many different religious thinking. There is no authoritative doctrine. There's no authoritative book. There's many authors. There's no authoritative figure. Again, a lot of people chiming in, and there's this long menu. You can pick from whatever you like. Now, That said, there is three principles that do seem to stream through all of them. First one is pantheism, the second one is karma, and the third one is self-actualization. What are these? Let's start with pantheism. Pantheism is this idea that everything is God, that we are part of God, that this chair is part of God, that we are all gods. A couple problems with that. First one is, if in fact everything is God, then God is evil, because we know there's a lot of evil in the world. They explain this away by saying that evil is just an illusion. Of course, tell that to the woman who just lost her 9-year-old daughter to the shooting in Arizona. It is not just illusion, it is a real category, and we know that biblically. Next, experientially. Am I God? Do I have the qualities of God? I can't even create anything. I can rearrange atoms, but I don't have the ability to create anything. Secondly, I have very little control over things. I can't control the pimple on my face. My 10-year-old daughter, I have very little control over her. So this idea that we are gods experientially just doesn't make sense. Number two is this idea of karma. Let me just mention a couple things about that. There's 6 billion people in the world today. 20 years ago, there was 5 billion people in the world. What are you working off in your first life? In other words, this is this idea that we are trying to be a better and work off our bad karma. On your first life, what are you working off? I don't know. They can't answer that question. It just doesn't make sense. And then there's this question of, how much do I owe? If I'm in this cycle of karma, birth and rebirth, when I go to my bank to check my statement, they tell me how much I owe the bank and what my interest is. In this particular case, we have no idea where we stand at any given time. So it's problematic. Finally, self-actualization. That is this idea that my morals, my reality, my truth is within, not without. I look internally for truth. Now, Western tradition, morality has always been something outside that restrains our inclinations, our self-destruction. That morals are outside and we follow those morals and it restrains us.
Absolute truth.
Correct. In this particular case, I can invent my own truth. What happens when you invent your own truth? What any logical person would think, it leads you down the path of self-gratification and self-destruction. So, a couple of issues there, a couple of problems with it. Now, it's called New Age, but it really is an old hoax. Let me read from Genesis chapter 3, verse. There's a New Age movement right there. Old Testament, been around for centuries. There's nothing new about it. It's an old deception.
Many New Agers have a belief that contacting spirits is a good thing. It is a common practice among New Agers. They believe contacting your higher self or spirit guides can help you through your human experience and beyond. Here is a clip of Brother Panic, a New Ager and advocate of the New Age spirituality. He explains the purpose for contacting spirits.
Well, I mean, there's no one way to put it, but I guess in this context, some of the most progress I've made is actually making contact with the spirit world in all forms. I've done everything except have a goddamn seance. So I've been really successful in showing people how to make contact and actually stand on their own 2 feet to become adept in it. Now, I usually do it one-on-one with certain people who are actually ready to go to that level. Right. So, contacts, more than just being a researcher. That's one of the things I'm also known for, a hard researcher. Originally, I was a lecturer, but I gave that up to actually go deeper into research, deeper into understanding all that we do holistically. And the greatest success was talking to spirits. So we're going to go into the details of the type of messages you should be looking for, and ways to do it.
Okay. Such a great place to start. So here is my first question to you. Why should anyone want to do this? I mean, a lot of times we look at this and we sort of see the spookism in it, in contacting a spirit. What are some of the benefits for being able to reach out and contact spirits of the past?
Anyone that's seeking divine wisdom or any form of wisdom at all, it would behoove you to contact the spirit world. They are in a higher frequency, therefore they are in a better place of understanding than you are as a human being. Being outside of time and the constraints of humanity, you would consult the spirit world to guide you in your plight. You coming down as a human is actually your personal path here of learning or transformation. So the other side of you, the side that's no longer seen by the human eyes or felt by the five senses, are in a position to give you guidance, understanding for the one who's a wisdom seeker, a knowledge seeker. So if you're there to seek knowledge, to streamline it to your intellect is almost cutting yourself off at the knees. So contacting the spirit world is absolutely necessary to get a holistic understanding of what it is you're dealing with if you call yourself a scientist here.